all about sight fishing. You know, I love catching bass off the beds in the springtime, and I want to give you some really good tips on how I approach it and kind of what I do. Let me first talk a little bit about where to look and kind of how to approach finding sight fish. First of all, water temperature is important. Anytime that water temperature in and around the full moon in spring is in those mid 60s or 70 degrees, those fish are going to be up spawning. I like to look in the back of pockets and wooded shorelines like we have here behind us and cruise along with the trolling motor pretty slow, but yet not just sitting totally still, just cruise along looking. If it's clear water like we have here at Lake Murray, then those fish they could be spawning out as deep as 5 or 6 feet. So I'm just kind of cruising along, looking all up in these logs and all up in these laydowns for the different little, maybe a light spot or even just movement of the fish. If it's muddy water, then I'm going to look up shallow. If it's real stained water or real muddy water, or maybe you're up a river, those fish are going to spawn shallower. The muddier the water, the shallower the fish spawn. The clearer the water, the farther out they spawn, because what a bass needs, they need sunlight on that bed, and that's important. Now, what I like to do when I'm cruising down the banks, I like to throw little swim baits like I have here. This is like a little imitation, like a little bluegill or a little shad deal. I'll throw that up in the trees and swim it out real slow. I've got it rigged up on a trocar weighted swim bait hook, 20-pound fluorocarbon, and just swim it out real slow and try to get those fish to come out and look at the bait. A lot of times that'll key you into where that fish maybe has a bed. Maybe you didn't see the bed, but you see the fish come out of the bush or come up underneath the log and look at your bait. A lot of times they won't eat it, but they show themselves. Once that happens, then I'll power pole down. Very important. I love power poles. Sight fishing with power poles is a way easier deal than just trying to stay on your trolling motor. Once I locate where that bed is, and I'm going to throw some type of creature bait. This is a bruiser, crazy craw, green pumpkin on the back, a little blue on the bottom, just a little crawdad imitation. I like to also have a pretty heavy weight, like a ½ ounce weight. I don't peg it. Rig it up on my favorite hook. That's a TK 130 Trocar straight shank hook. That's a great hook for sight fishing. And the reason I don't peg it is because when I flip that bait down there in that bed and I'm shaking that bait, because that weight's not pegged, everything kind of shakes just a little bit more. If you've got a pegged weight, it doesn't shake and give that little bit of extra little vibration to that bait that you need sometimes to get those fish to key in on it. So I don't peg my weight. Now the other thing I do is I keep a pocket full of different types of baits. As you see here, I have a white bait, I have a backup crazy craw, and I have another little swim bait here, this little bruiser swim bait. And I'll rotate around and try different colors and different styles of these baits, because sometimes these fish will react better to a white one, sometimes they react better to like a big swim bait like that, or maybe even the crazy craw. So keep a pocket full of baits, use the swim bait to find and locate the fish, and don't peg your weight. That's the biggest thing. And when you find that bed might only be this big, there's going to be a sweet spot on that bed that's probably the size of a little saucer plate. And whenever your bait gets in that little sweet spot on that bed, that's when that fish is going to react the most. Pay attention to what that fish is doing. If the fish is leaving the bed and swimming off for several minutes at a time, that fish might not be very catchable. If the fish is staying put, staying in the area, coming on the bed, not leaving the bed, that fish is a very aggressive fish and probably can be caught with those right techniques. So try those techniques the next time you're up shallow looking for some sight fish. We'll see you guys. This scum right here, that's hot. There's a lot of warmth in that compared to just regular hydrilla or milk oil. That scum provides warmth.